Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Gamers Roast podcast. I'm your host, Joshua J. Alongside me, Wesley Lance.
Oh, I was going to introduce myself this time.
No, okay.
I was just thinking about how you didn't let me open because I opened last week, and apparently I did such a horrible job that you took it back.
Now after I just messed that up, maybe you should do it. Anyway, we're here to bring you up to speed on the latest gaming news and have a great time on this lovely Thursday morning. And I hope you guys have had a good week so far. Just got a little bit longer to go, but we're going to start off the day with our coffee of the week, as always. And it's Black Rifle Coffee Company, espresso with cream on this one.
I'm excited for this one. I don't know why. We've had espresso with cream before, but I don't know. This one just looks like it's going to be really well balanced.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about this company and just some of the things they stand for. And I was really excited to... Exactly. Merca. I was really excited to try it out. And
here we go. Ooh, okay. You have to give it a second. So when I first took a sip, I was like, oh, it kind of tastes like that Dunkin' Donuts. But then when you give it a second, it has a really nice aftertaste.
This is going to sound weird, but it's like, feel like the Baileys that we had was more of like your silky, shiny paint, whereas this is more like a matte black. Like, does that make sense in any way that I'm trying to describe it?
No, it doesn't.
Like, the Bailey's was very smooth, whereas this is more of a...
It's got more bite to it.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah.
But it's like almost like my tongue is like, that's like, the difference between smooth paint and matte black paint.
I don't paint, so maybe it makes more sense
but
to
like the
people
way
who paint.
It looks, like this feel of the smoothness from matte black to like...
I think it sort of makes sense.
It makes sense in my head.
As long as it makes sense in your head. I think one of my favorite things about coffee, just in general, is the aftertaste. Like you get the initial sip,
right?
And that's usually a lot of bitter. But then afterwards, you get like a little bit more subtlety to the flavor. And that's generally where the roasting process comes in. So the thing about the Dunkin' was it just tasted kind of like sweet coffee, like sweet bitter coffee going down. There was nothing. This has that flavor, that sweet cream going down. But then afterwards, it's got a nice like roasted aftertaste. It's really nice.
Almost like...
We're both going to keep sipping it.
It's almost like... I'm trying to think of another example besides matte paint, like this texture.
I really don't know what you're trying to... Are you talking the texture?
Yeah, even the texture. Just like it's more of a... It's not like it's like
not gritty.
Right. It's not like you're getting like, but that's kind of what it almost feels as opposed to the smoothness of the Baileys. Like the Baileys was just so silky smooth.
It was. I mean, it was very creamy.
Almost like, like silk sheets compared to normal sheets. Bailey's like a silk sheets. These are like... I don't notice it. Just pulled it out of the packaging from Target.
I don't really get a difference in texture. It's a flavor thing for me. The Baileys tasted a little bit like alcohol actually, and I didn't like that flavor.
But didn't it feel smooth going down?
It was smooth, but this also feels smooth to me. So maybe you're just more sensitive to texture than I am.
Well, my wife says my palate is not defined. She's a chef, so.
Well, you married a chef, so.
Right.
Anyway,
she cooks amazing.
Now that we're done with that little segment,
let's move on to roast of the week.
Yeah. So.
Oh wait. What? I would give it. 7.5, 8 out of 10.
Yeah, 7.5. I think 7.5 is fair. Again, I'm trying to keep some room at the top in case we come up to
like a mind blowing.
Yes.
Right.
I don't know that that's going to happen because it's how good can coffee get? I don't know.
Blasphemy. It gives life.
Okay. We're gonna leave that one there. All right. No, I do like coffee, and I want to leave some room there. So yeah, roast of the week this week. I don't know if anybody who listens to this will get angry. I'll probably make somebody angry. So I was on vacation this past week, so I had a lot of time to play games actually because we were up in we were down in a cabin in the Smokies, so we had like nothing to do. Just sit in the cabin. It was great. I packed my Switch, and so I finally got into Skyward Sword HD a little bit more, and I played a little bit more of Super Mario 3D All-Stars, just chipping away a little bit of that. And I played back-to-back Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Galaxy. And I do not understand people who say that 64 is the best Mario has ever controlled in 3D. And I've heard this opinion at least one place, and maybe it's just that one person. If so, it's a roast of just that one person. But it doesn't make any sense to me. Mario 64 controls so poorly. I never feel like I never felt like I am in full control of Mario ever. And whenever you're turning around, he has to like move forward. So like one time I died because I was at a pool of lava and I was trying to turn around to turn away from the lava, and he walked forward when I pushed backwards because he has to have a little bit of space to turn around because it's not as snappy.
Mario's not that fat.
Yeah, he's not. That's the thing is it feels like tank controls. And this is not a roast on Mario 64 because I understand what it is. It's very formative in the idea of 3D platforming.
Right.
I respect it for what it is. But for anyone to tell me that it controls better than Galaxy or Odyssey, I'm like, are we playing the same game? And I get the critique of Galaxy is that it feels a little floaty, and it does. Like, it's really hard to control around like small spheres, which is Galaxy's thing. But again, that's kind of a pioneer of that. But I still feel like I've got more control of Mario in that game than 64. And to be fair, that person, the opinion I heard was before Odyssey was even really conceived. So like maybe people have changed now because Odyssey controls really nicely. It's probably, I would say Odyssey is the best Mario's controlled, but just people keep going back to 64 as like the pinnacle of platforming. And I'm like, I'm going to finish it because I feel like at some point I have to finish this stupid game to call myself a platform player. But I can't. It's my least favorite 3D Mario, even over Sunshine. I don't understand it. So,
well, maybe it's time to just leave it in the dust and have that Mario be burned in lava forever.
Wow, that was dark.
I mean, I'm just saying if it's that bad, if you don't want to play it,
yeah, it's not actively bad. Like I do have fun with it. But I don't understand people saying that that's the best Mario has gotten. It's a good game. It's fun. It's
what's
worth
the ratio
playing.
of people that prefer that Mario over other Marios?
I have no idea. I might be exaggerating, to be honest.
You might be the only one.
I might be the only one that's upset about people liking Mario 64 over Galaxy. I probably am.
Well, don't dislike the video. Just leave a comment. So, you know.
Yes, engage in discussion.
Exactly.
But you're wrong.
So is that the roast?
That's it. That's the roast. That's
awesome.
the roast. I don't understand people saying that 64 has better controls because it doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I mean, everyone's able to have their opinion. So if their opinion's
Except
wrong,
that one.
If their opinion's wrong, so be it.
Yeah.
And real quick before we move on, I figured it out. It leaves a little bit of a dry taste in my mouth.
Oh.
I think that's what my brain's finally connected.
So it's probably got more coffee to cream ratio.
So my brain's kind of like,
that makes more sense.
It's drying the mouth out. It's not silky smooth, but it doesn't leave a nice coating of silk on the tongue.
I don't like the way you're talking about this coffee. It feels like I think there's a term in wine tasting called mouthfeel, and just that word makes me feel itchy. I don't like it, and that's what I'm getting.
Itchy.
I don't like mouthfeel. Like ugh.
Oh man, what's the mouthfeel of this coffee?
Yeah, I don't know if it's wine tasting.
Not great. It tastes great. The mouthfeel, however, could be improved.
I don't know if it's wine tasting or what. I know it's a thing somewhere. I can't think of what it is.
It needs to make my mouth feel a little bit better, but I do like the taste. The taste is amazing.
That sounds like a song. You make my mouth feel a little better. I don't know why.
We're gonna keep going.
Okay, we gotta move on. I'm sorry. I made it weird. I'm sorry. I made it weird.
No, I know how.
Anyway,
my mind is okay. So we're gonna start a new segment, and it's not gonna necessarily be every single week, but it's called the Daily Grind. This is where we just talk about some of the things that just need to be said, just kind of get out of the way that's happening on the podcast, behind the scenes, stuff like that, upcoming things.
Yeah. Stuff we want you guys to be aware about that's not necessarily like gaming news, that sort of thing.
So calling it the Daily Grind. And today I wanted to introduce a new segment that we're going to be doing, or not just segment, that's part of the podcast, but a whole new playlist on YouTube and things like that. We're going to start streaming some of our gameplay. So a friend of ours is actually going to be stepping into that role to help us with that, to get more content for you guys. His name's Aaron Piper. He's a good friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for a long time. And so we're going to be streaming on Twitch and possibly YouTube. Still working out all the details on that. But the videos will come to YouTube if we don't stream directly to YouTube. So be on the lookout for that. When that is up, we will leave links below in the video and to our Twitch channel, as well as we'll keep talking about it and plugging that in these podcasts. But I'm really excited for it because I feel like there's a lot of games that sometimes we talk about that I want them to see us play.
Well, yeah.
You know, Battlefield 2042, when that comes out, I want to be able to stream that. I just got done, and we'll go into this more later, but I just got done playing the game 12 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
I really would love to have streamed that. It was just a really fun game. So that's our goal. We want to do that, and hopefully we'll be able to get 2 streams out every week for you guys in addition to the podcast here. Yeah. So that's the goal. That's where we're going with that. Just wanted to give you a heads up to be on the lookout. Hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we can start getting that up.
Cool.
So yeah, let's hop into the actual news and notes and things like that of what we have going on this week. First up is Halo Infinite.
Yeah.
They are actually going to be delaying, it came out this week, they're going to be delaying the co-op campaign as well as Forge on the consoles and on the computer for, I think they said until season 3, they're having...
Well, they never said specifically when they thought it would be coming out. The IGN article speculated that it would be season 3 before the co-op multiplayer came out, which that's another thing entirely, is the fact that they're going season based with Halo.
I think that's where a lot of things, because that's what Battlefield 2042 is doing.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are willing to do this more. This is the game they make, and everything is going to somehow tie into this game and more or less be.
It's more of an active experience than just you buy a game and that's how it is.
Which I don't know if I like yet.
I've never loved the idea of seasons because it makes me feel like I can't ever safely put a game down. You know what I mean? Like if you pick up, even to this day, if you pick up Halo Reach, you know what you're going to be getting. You're going to be playing Halo Reach. The game modes are the same. There might be one or two like little, I mean, obviously not at this point. I picked a really old game, but whereas if I start playing Halo Infinite now, and let's say I get bored of it, or I want to focus on a different shooter or a different game, and then I come back to it 6 months later, I might not know what the heck I'm doing anymore, and I have to basically start over unless I've kept up. Like you mentioned it when you started playing Apex with your brother-in-law. You used to play it. We used to play it together, and then you came back and it's completely different. And that's the same for me. Like I want to go back to Apex, but I'm a little nervous too because I don't want to have to build up all of my skills again.
Well, especially since I went from PlayStation to Xbox.
Yeah.
They're on Xbox, so I hopped on my Xbox instead of my PlayStation, and then I didn't even have any of the cross progression.
Right.
So it was difficult. So I see what you're saying there, and I agree with you on that. It just has to be done correctly.
Right.
And we have yet to see it done, in my opinion, flawlessly. Like, don't get me wrong, Apex is good. Fortnite is good. I mean, proven by the numbers, whether you like it or you don't. It's a successful game. So they have a concept here that works. It's just, I wonder if it's going to work for every single game or if it's just a fad that's going to come and fall off.
It does feel weird for Halo because Halo has historically been more story-driven.
Right.
It's probably one of the more story-driven first-person shooter franchises. I don't play a lot of FPSs, so maybe I'm completely wrong. But from what I've observed, Halo's story seems to be one of the strong suits, along with the vehicles and the gunplay, that sort of thing. But it's weird to do a season, especially seasons bringing features like co-op campaign and Forge. Like generally seasons change like the map and that sort of thing.
It's because they don't have it ready.
And I appreciate them not rushing out a half-baked product.
Right.
I would rather than delay it than rush it.
They'll have the single player campaign. But if I might be mistaken, you can still play split screen, but just not actually co-op online.
Interesting.
Don't quote me on that. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, but I believe that's it. But the article by Matt Kim over at IGN says 343 Industries has announced that it is delaying the campaign co-op and Forged of Halo Infinite until after launch as the developers focus on getting the single-player campaign and multiplayer done in time for its holiday release. In an August video update from the official Halo YouTube channel, Halo Infinite head of creative Joseph Staten confirmed that neither campaign co-op nor Forge will be in Halo Infinite at launch. Halo 343 confirmed that Halo Infinite is, quote, 100% committed, end quote, to release the anticipated shooter this holiday. So they still want to have it out, but like you said, they want to wait till it's fully fledged out and they can actually make it something that they're proud of. Because they have to hit.
Yeah.
They cannot screw this up.
Yeah, especially with Battlefield coming out.
But the thing that blows my mind is that it's not to get the campaign better.
It's to get it done.
But not even that. The campaign itself is done, but they're just not releasing the co-op.
Well, is the co-op campaign exactly the same as the single player, or is it a different story?
With Halo, it's been the same.
Well,
so with Halo, I mean, I guess I can't say that for sure on this one, but in the past, it's been, I know Halo 1, you're both the exact same guy, just like you both get to play as him.
Weird.
So it's not necessarily like, and I think it's Halo 2, you take over the AI of one of the aliens and you work with together on that one. And so it's not necessarily that it changes the story at all. You play the exact same story, just with a friend. So
that's weird.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what is necessarily holding them back from all of that, especially if you are able to play split screen. Just it has to be the technical side of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but again, they have to hit this. They have to make it right. They have to make sure they do it correctly because Halo 5 was a disaster.
Oof.
And people just didn't get into it.
Yeah.
Kids nowadays aren't interested in Halo. It's the people like me that kind of grew up with Halo that want to play and want to. I dropped out after Halo 4. I played the Halo 4 campaign, didn't care for the multiplayer, don't shoot me. And then Halo 5 came out and I never bought it, never touched it. I don't know the story of it because I heard it was horrible and I fell out after Halo 4. So from what I've heard though of the gameplay, just of the testing that came out, people are saying that it reminds them of Halo 3.
You mentioned that.
So if they can bring this back to how Bungie had it, I would be over the top excited. Especially it's free to play. It's coming to Game Pass. They're going to be able to relaunch the game.
Yeah. So that's the difficult thing about Halo is it reached its peak during the 360. And then when Bungie left and 343 took over, that was a tipping point and it tipped the wrong direction.
Right.
And they dropped the ball. And then they were silent because, I mean, like you had 4 and 5, but most of the fan base dropped off after Reach. And even Reach was kind of contentious, wasn't it?
Yeah, I personally, I loved Reach. It's not my favorite. My favorite's actually Halo 1. I loved it. And have you ever played through that?
No, I've only played 3 and Reach with you.
I
never had an
love
Xbox.
to play through that with you on the remastered edition. I think that would be a lot of fun to go through. I mean, it's still pretty clunky, but we
totally should though. That'd be a lot of fun.
They have a feature where you can switch back to the actual HUD and graphics of the original,
really
and
cool.
then switch back to you can switch back and forth as you're playing.
I love it when remasters do that.
And they even have a little bit better controls as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'd be totally down to do something like that. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
But anyway,
sorry,
that's a tangent. I would too. But they kind of dropped it right around 4 and 5, and that was when the transition from the 360 generation to the, what was it, the one? Was the one next?
Yes.
Yes. Sorry, I'm completely lost when it comes to Xbox. But like the PS3 to PS4, the 360 to the One, the Wii to the Wii, well, never mind. Nintendo dropped the ball there too. That was a weird time because that felt like a generational shift. That was like that was like our generation kind of moving forward, but that was also when the next generation of like kids kind of was able to get into games.
Right.
Like, there are people alive today who the Xbox One and the PS4 are their first console. Like, it's their, like, Super Nintendo. And they're now growing up, and there was no, like...
Don't make me feel old.
I'm sorry, but what I'm saying is, in that era, that generational shift, Halo was absent because 4 and 5, they failed completely. And so now they're trying to capitalize on a fan base that has either given up or isn't even aware of Halo. And it's going to be really, really hard unless they really nail it.
But that's the thing. Because of the way this Halo is getting hyped, my generation is...
Right.
And even the generation before me, because I grew up with your Halo 3. that was my main Halo. I was about 5 years old when Halo 1 came out. So I didn't get to really play that one until I was older. But Halo 3, when that came out, I remember that one. And so for that game, like, was amazing. The last really great Halo that Bungie made. And a lot of people argue the best Halo for the multiplayer aspect of it. And so, like you're saying, like the past generation and my generation growing up with that, I never thought about the other generations coming in with Xbox One and then just
Halo was, I mean, it was there, but like Halo, like everyone that talked about Halo 5, I've always heard that sort of like, meh, I wasn't interested. I didn't pick it up. Like nobody talks about it.
Well, and Halo is such, and I kind of wonder if Bungie ever regrets selling the rights to Halo and giving that up.
Yeah, because Destiny never really went. I mean, they made Destiny 2.
A lot of people love Destiny. A lot of people think that it is. Destiny is what, if you didn't know what it was supposed to be originally, when I hopped on the train back when there was a few leaks, even when Halo 3 had kind of started coming out, they were already trying to make Destiny.
Wow.
Like they had been working on it for a long time. So I had heard some of the original press conferences of it and everything, and I got really hyped for it. It changed because games do change.
Right.
And so I was hyped for the original concept that they had, and then it shifted and I didn't care for what they came out with. I played through all of Destiny 1, so don't at me, but I just, it didn't hit me right. But them selling Halo, it launched with Xbox. Halo and Xbox are intertwined in a way that will never be broken up.
Well, yeah. I mean, at this point, 343 is just a subsidiary of Microsoft. Right.
And so for them to sell something that was so iconic, the fact that they have a special original Xbox for Halo themed, like
it would be akin, I'm going to speak to all the Nintendo people. It would be akin to Game Freak selling Pokemon.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be what it would be because it's so it's not Nintendo, but it might as well be.
Right. And so for them to just give up those rights like that, I wonder if they ever just look back on it and go, man, I'd really like to make another Halo game, but they can't. They and especially after watching 343 do what they did to it, they got to be over there going, exactly. It's like, man, but if 343 can pull it out, if they can make this something that even the generation of kids coming up now that are 14, 15 years old, if they can make them look at that game and go, oh, well, hey, what's that? What you playing there?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I'll hop in and see what this Halo thing's all about.
Especially with it being free to play. There's no cost to entry.
You could get the next generation of gamers so hooked on Halo that they go back and play all the others and that they want to dive so deep into this world and into this story. I mean, you have something special here because you have people that are adults that have grown children that want to play this game and have their children experience what they experienced when they were their age, if you make it right.
And if they don't make it right, I don't think we're going to see another Halo ever again.
Well, you will, but I don't think it'll ever be relevant. And Xbox will then need something new, which I don't know. I don't know what it will be.
They'll just release Skyrim again.
Because PlayStation, oh gosh. Well, that's the thing. They did buy that, so maybe Starfield would come up to be the next big thing. But like PlayStation has had Uncharted, for a long time. It was Uncharted until it wasn't. Until Uncharted just became same old, boring. And it fell off. Now I would say PlayStation 3 was when they came. Was it PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 that The Last of Us came out?
Last of Us was, I think it was PS3. Yeah, because there's a PS4 remastered version. I'm pretty sure it's PS3. So like late PS3.
So I think that is kind of what then took on the the Uncharted series and said, okay, we are the next PlayStation
exclusive
title. Like this is, when you think PlayStation, you think, at least I do, Last of Us.
See, that's interesting because I actually don't. I think of Horizon Zero Dawn. Because that, I think, is kind of taking on a little bit more of, especially with the sequel.
But there's
Not
only one
quite,
so
yeah.
far. You know, that could be one that would rival The Last of Us for that competing.
But you're right. Right now, it probably is Last of Us.
And God of War. God of War.
Is that PS3 exclusive or PlayStation exclusive?
Actually, you know what? I don't know. Now I need to check.
I think the original came out for Xbox too, if I'm not mistaken. You also have, if they make a franchise out of it, the Spider-Man franchise. Because you've got the original and Miles Morales.
But Spider-Man is so everything because Spider-Man is everything. So the game itself, I don't know if it would ever be one of those things that you'd be like, oh,
That's
when you think PlayStation, you think Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's true. It's probably going to be either Last of Us or Horizon Zero Dawn, which are they planning on making any more Last of Us games?
I think so. I think they still want to. I know they're going to come out with like a multiplayer aspect for The Last of Us. Like they did with the first one. It was weird. I never played it.
That feels very strange to take such a serious story and be like, now you can shoot other people. Like that'd be like The Walking Dead coming out with a multiplayer mode. It just feels weird, but maybe I'm reading too much into it. Any news on the God of War PlayStation exclusive?
So back in June, looks like an article by Time Out. I'm not sure. Gaming News said God of War is delayed and it's no longer a PS5 exclusive.
So the new one was supposed to be PS5 exclusive. I was talking about the franchise in general. I'm pretty sure the original was cross-platform, but I could be wrong.
So it says GamesRadar.com. No, God of War 2 isn't a PlayStation 5 exclusive, but it is a PlayStation exclusive. In an interview on the PlayStation blog, PlayStation Studios head Herman Hulst confirmed that the next God of War game is releasing on PlayStation 4 as well as PS5, making it cross-gen release. So I don't...
but that's the reboot.
Right.
That's the sequel to the reboot. Because at this point, nothing is new, and we have God of War, and you're gonna have to specify which one you mean.
So I don't think it's coming to Xbox though. So
yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
So yeah, so so far it's a PlayStation exclusive, just not PlayStation 5 only.
At least the reboot is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's Ragnarok. PlayStation or God of War Ragnarok.
I was talking about like the OG God of War.
Right.
Old God of War.
Right. I guess with Xbox, when you think exclusive, you would think
Halo.
Gears of War and Halo.
Yeah.
Gears of War kind of is more of a niche, you know. And when you talk games, if you mention Halo, 90% of people will be like, "Oh, I know Halo. I know what that is."
They at least know what Master Chief looks like.
Exactly. So
yeah, I've never touched Gears of War. I know nothing about it.
I told my parents I wanted a Halo poster. They walked in and they knew like, oh, this is Master Chief. They gave it to me for Christmas one day. Like, hey, look, it's Master Chief. Like, this is what you wanted. And I was a stupid kid. I was like, well, actually, his name's John. And Dad's like, okay, shut up. You know what I'm talking about. And I'm like, okay, yeah.
Can I tell you one of my favorite little factoids of the original Halo? This is completely off topic, but it's funny. So throughout the series, they kind of tease getting to see what Master Chief's face looks like. Like he'll take off his helmet and the camera will pan just out of reach or something. In the original, at the end of the game, the very last scene, he takes off his helmet and the camera pans out of the ship and you can't see it. But hackers have actually hacked into that cutscene to see when he takes off the helmet, what's underneath is another helmet. Which I don't know why I find that so funny.
Well, I saw a video where it was a Rickroll.
Oh.
He takes it off and it zooms back in and then it's a Rickroll.
We're no strangers to love. So, oh my. Yeah.
But we got off on a little bit.
We got off on like several different tangents.
But long story short, Halo has to make this one count.
Yeah.
This is so tied to Xbox that when you think PlayStation, there's multiple games that can come to mind just a jump, like just boom, PlayStation, you know, Last of Us, Detroit Become Human, you know, the Uncharted series. Still, when someone says that, you still think PlayStation. Right. When you say Halo or Gears of War, like...
Yeah, that's about all Xbox has going for it. And Gears of War hasn't released a new one in a long time.
Right.
So it's basically Halo at this point.
So it has to hit.
Mm-hmm.
Because the fact that the PlayStation 5 will have a bunch of exclusive. It doesn't now, they haven't announced a bunch of things, but the Horizon Zero Dawn, that's announced. Mm-hmm. The next Spider-Man, the next God of War. So it has good titles coming up for it. The Xbox has a lot of smaller titles, a lot of indie titles, a lot of Game Pass type of games.
More volume than necessarily big AAA releases.
Right. And don't get me wrong, those games are great. Those games are fun, but they need that seller game that people go, I'm going to get Xbox for that game.
Right. Yeah, because that's the thing. That's at this point, that's your system seller is your console exclusives. It used to be power and that sort of thing. And at this point, the specs are pretty comparable between a Series X and a PS5. So it's not necessarily power anymore. It's your exclusives. Why do you want this? Like for me, if Halo does not hit it, because I'm waiting to upgrade. If Halo doesn't hit it, I'll probably jump to PS5 because there'd be no reason for me to buy an Xbox at that point other than Game Pass. Game Pass is the only other thing that makes me want an Xbox.
And that is a very good like pushing point. Game Pass is a very good pushing point, but they do need that big hitter home run game.
Yeah.
And if it's not Halo, we're going to have to wait until Starfield and hope that one hits and doesn't pull a Cyberpunk.
Or a No Man's Sky. Or a Destiny.
But well, No Man's Sky redeemed itself.
Back,
it is the only one. When you think redemption,
I feel like we mention this every episode.
When you think redemption, you think Salvation and No Man's Sky. Like
when you think of redemption, you think of oh my word. I can't. Why am I all I can think
Jesus
of is Zuko.
Christ is his name.
Well, okay. I was actually thinking Zuko from Avatar, but sure. We can do that.
You got Jesus over here, and you got No Man's Sky over here. You know, like redemption stories. Like, woo! Except Jesus redeemed us, and No Man's Sky redeemed itself. But, you know.
No Man's Sky rose from its own ashes. Anyway. That's weird.
Moving on from Halo Infinite and everything else that went along in that segment to Call of Duty Vanguard.
The news of meh.
So
it looks like I watched this trailer and I was like, it doesn't look any different than World War II. It makes me sad. Like I could be roasting them and making fun of them, but it just makes me sad because I so desperately would love to see something different come out of COD because I think they could, but it's not. They're not doing anything new. And like even this champion, so one of the comments on that trailer was the only reason I'm watching this is so I can make this game mode in the new Battlefield because you're going to be able to.
And I think that sums up perfectly what this game is going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be a game that people hop in and try it and are like, meh.
Right. I'm going to try the alpha this weekend.
Same. It's free. You know, I don't think I could bring myself to give them money just because it's the same old. But also because of all of the allegations that we so easily forget about.
Yeah.
And that's the craziest part is I feel like this game is going to come out. It's going to be a big seller and people are going to completely forget about all of the crap that's going on. And it's going to be left to people like us and other gaming platforms out there and podcasts that try to keep it as relevant as possible till something gets done. But I sadly don't see that happening because the average gamer is not out there looking for what studio is treating their employees right.
Yeah.
You don't go to GameStop, pick out a game and go, well, let me look up their studio to see what they're doing.
Ethically sourced games.
Hey, maybe we could make that
That sounds like a studio name, actually, doesn't it? Ethically sourced games.
But ironically, they'd probably be the worst company.
And I think there is a little bit of a difference with Blizzard, with Activision and Blizzard because it's so high key. And even like the government is the California government is still looking into it and there's still lawsuits going on and shareholders are still talking about it. So the people that are paying attention are the ones that should be paying attention, the ones with the money and the influence. But when it comes to your average gamer, I don't know. And honestly, I don't have a lot of friends that play games, so I don't really know how to say whether or not they're really paying attention.
Well, the shareholders, though, they don't care as long as they get their wallets like padded. Like if Call of Duty starts blowing up, the shareholders are not going to push down on the directors and the leaders because it's selling.
Because it's making money.
They're making money. So why would they rock the boat? Don't rock the boat. If you're bringing in the fish, don't rock the boat. Like it's just, I'm not even sure if those two sayings go together, but
it makes perfect sense.
Like, yeah, I don't know. It's frustrating that no matter what seems to happen, no matter what these guys do, they get away with it.
It feels like the mafia almost. Like, you can arrest them for a little bit, but they're just going to get out because they're untouchable.
Yeah, and it's sad, and it sucks, and it's pathetic, but that's the world we live in. We do live in a cyberpunk-esque type of world. We live
in a society.
And it's true. Like, I mean, when you think when you think of the story, okay, don't think of the game, think of the story of Cyberpunk 2077. It is not a far-fetched idea that corporations get to the level that they get to, because money is the root of all evil. The love of money. Actually, let me correct that, because we do mess that up a lot. Yeah. Is where we say that money's not bad. It's the love that people have for it, the greed that people get. Being rich is not a bad thing. It's when you let that control your decision making, and the only decisions you make are guided by your wallet instead of by your mind and by your heart and by your soul. Like,
oof. Wow, that's deep.
Anyway.
You bring your soul into game development. And that's the thing, is I think a lot of people do, because we've talked about that, like game developers doing it for passion. I think a lot of people really do pour their heart and soul into the games that they make. Usually they're smaller titles though. A while back, I reviewed a game called Manifold Garden for Geeks Under Grace. And I don't even remember why I felt compelled to do so much research on it before I wrote the review, but I did. And it was made by one guy. Well, one guy started, and then he formed a studio of people. He was a balloon sculptor, and he wanted to make art that incorporated infinite space. And so he made a video game about, it looks like an MC Escher print, and it like infinitely loops. It's like a puzzle game with infinite looping rooms. It's cool. It's a little confusing, but I could tell just playing the game that it was made with a lot of heart and soul. Even if I didn't particularly care for it, I knew this meant a lot to the people that made it. That's just undeniable. And to see people, and maybe that's what frustrates me so much about Vanguard, is I see games with a lot of heart and soul being put into it. And then I look over here and it looks like a shell. It looks like a robot. Just kind of like it's being made because we got to make another Call of Duty. We got to make another one so that people can buy it. And it's frustrating, because that's not what games are to me. Games are people pouring in their heart and soul to an experience that they want people to have. They want to share with people, even if it's an experience or a message that I think is wrong. There's a studio that made a game called Tonight We Riot, and it is an openly socialist game. Like, the villains are greedy capitalists, and you form a mob to kill them. And even to the point where like your mob members are like disposable little people that if the police shoot them, you just send another one in. Like, it's horrible. But
sounds like my game though.
I can tell the people who made it poured their heart and soul into it, and I applaud them for that. I think everybody has the right to express that, and I think it's cool that if you put the extra effort of making it an interactive experience. And I would rather play that game than Call of Duty. Well, I'm not going to buy it, but
the thing. That's what you're saying though is so true. When you think of No Man's Sky, the reason it was such a comeback title is because every single DLC and update that they've done has been free. Mm-hmm. And he has been putting his heart and his soul into this game for the past 6 years and has never once charged any other dime except for the initial purchase of the game.
Right.
Sean Murray is someone that when he says he loves this game and is creating something that he has so much passion and desire for, is not lying. Mm-hmm. That game is his child, and he wants everyone to experience it that wants to. So that's why it was such a big. Now, if every single thing was a $10, extra piece of DLC and update, like
if EA owned it,
exactly. I think that it would have crashed. I don't think it would have gone.
Well, yeah, because if your experience with the game is already kind of garbage because the initial release kind of was, why would you pay more money for it? Why would you dump more money into something you're like, ugh, this already disappointed me?
But if someone keeps doing more and more stuff to it and it's like, hey, it's free, hop on it. Sean Murray made the freaking whole game of games as a service or whatever, the seasons, before anyone else did.
That's true, actually.
Every single DLC is just an extra season 4, he could have said, Mm-hmm. And they're coming up with another update. I'm fingers crossed begging that it be cities. I would love for him to actually have cities in this.
That would be awesome.
In this game.
That'd be really cool. Because right now, the only contact you get is the space stations.
There's like few outposts on the world that you can find, but they're few and far between.
It'd be so cool to walk into a city and like see a bunch of creatures.
That'd be so cool. It's just like walking around, flying all their ships everywhere.
I mean, the only thing is, it is based on the idea that you're discovering these planets, like No Man's Sky, No Man's Land. Like the whole point is, so I get why they haven't added it to this point.
Agreed, but I mean, if they just even put it in like a few solar systems or something like that.
Like one planet in every solar system is inhabited. That's right.
We're not even every solar system, because then all those planets would actually have been discovered.
That's true.
But if you put it one every 50 to even 100, then when you did come across that society, it would be so cool.
That society, sorry. I'm still on the we live in a society
We live
meme.
in a society. No, but I don't know. I think that'd be really cool. So
yeah. Man. Enough trashing on Call of Duty. It just makes me sad.
I don't know. We'll trash on as much as we want.
I'm still going to play. I'm probably not going to buy it, but I'll try the alpha. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's going to be super innovative and different, but I haven't seen anything to prove me wrong at this point.
So we've been going on a lot of tangents about Halo and everything like that. So this episode's already going over time, but
sorry about that, everybody.
I was going to talk about the 12-minute gameplay that I've been doing, and then even what we've been playing this week, but we'll have to save that for next week. So if you do want to hear about that, 12 minutes was an amazing game. Man, I really... no, I can't. So
next week.
Hit us up next week. Make sure you guys come back here on Thursday next week. But we hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Be on the lookout for when we decide to drop Twitch videos. Again, we'll keep you informed on all of that. But until next time, guys, have a great weekend. Play games, drink lots of coffee. We'll see you guys next time. Have a good day.